Well, it's finally happened. The Grove podcast has suffered its first defeat, and it's a somber mood tonight. But hello and welcome, regardless, to the Porto Review Pod. I've lost track of how many we've done now. Can someone please, before I forget,
Episode 8.
This is episode 8 of the Grove podcast. What a bad host, thank you. As you all heard there, that was our lovely resident podcaster, Tabs. Welcome to the episode.
Good evening, everyone.
Whale, hello as usual.
Hey.
Oh. Very somber.
Controversial introduction. Shah will not be happy.
Shah's going to go mental. And the crowd are going to go wild for our final guest. We finally have managed to secure her. Senzi, welcome to the pod.
Hello.
I think you drowned her out, Whale.
Yeah, play
Senzi,
nice.
say that again.
Sorry.
Senzi, I'm going to mute Whale. Okay, there you go. He's muted. Welcome to the pod.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on. Whale, you're now unmuted again. I didn't.
Whoop, whoop.
Right, we're going to start. We need to just get this out of the way. It's like ripping a plaster off. Highlight and low light of the Porto game. Now, I must admit, I didn't watch the game. I was away. I was playing football. I'm really sorry, but I've managed to since catch up. Highlight for me was an unchanged team, playing the same 11 again. Driving to football, I thought, right, it's going to be 6-7-0. We're going to do it. This team is just unbeatable. We cannot be broken. We cannot concede a goal. And we did. In terms of the low light, it was not so much, I think maybe someone else will mention it, that, you know, we conceded so late on in the game. For me, the low light was coming back, watching the game and just realising how ineffective some of our players who have been very effective have in the last 2, 3, 4 games have been. And I was quite disappointed with that, to be honest. So that was mine. Senzi, as the guest, the new guest in the pod, I'm going to let you go next. What was your highlight and low light of the Porto game?
I guess my highlight is I'm always happy to have European nights. I mean, hearing the Champions League anthem, like I've wanted this for the last 6 years. It's been 8 years since we were in the round of 16, and it was a look back at how far we've come as a team to get back into the Champions League. As I do remember, I was 14 years old when we were in the round of 16 last time. So it was, just hearing the Champions League anthem. Yeah.
And what about your low light?
I guess I knew this was going to be a challenging game since Porto, before beating us, remained like unbeaten in their last 10 games. And at the end of the day, we both want to advance into the quarter. So it's a matter of who wants it more. And Porto came in very serious. They meant business, and they were never going to make it easy for us in their home territory. So I guess they denied us a lot of chances, which was unfortunate for us in the end. Yeah.
Whale, what about yourself? Have you perked up a little bit since that introduction, or are you going to give us a good day, fine sirs, or are you going to...
No, there's going to be none of that after performance. They don't deserve it.
Wow.
So they just get a hey. Low light, what to choose from? Let's see. I've got one. 0 shots on target. Are you kidding me? 11 goals the last 2 games. 21 goals the last 5 games. We're an unstoppable scoring machine. But apparently forgot how to shoot the ball. Or that's the way Arteta wanted us to play. But we'll talk about that later. Highlights? Didn't see any.
Wow.
0.
I'm sorry. I should not be laughing this much after a loss, but I guess that's just the confidence in me that we're going to, in the return leg in 3 weeks. Declan Rice, sorry, Tabs, I will come to you in a sec. Declan Rice, I know you listened to the pod with your mate Bukayo, right? In the post-match press conference, you said 2 weeks. Please don't turn up to the Emirates midweek in 2 weeks like what Tabs was about to do. Please don't do it. We will not be there. The game is in 3 weeks. But yeah, I shouldn't be laughing, but I am. You're just so funny, Will. Tabs, what about yourself?
Before I get it, I think there's no point getting too down about these things. You've got to look on the positives and the bright side and so on. So that I'm going to maybe try and counterbalance Whale on this pod a bit. So let's see how that goes. Thanks, Whale. Look, in terms of my highlight, that was the curry that my wife cooked me at halftime. So that was that was the highlight of my match. In terms of low light, obviously the goal last 30 seconds, completely avoidable. It was a real kick in the nuts. Could have been.
Easy. You got a lady on the program. Easy.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Kick up the back. It was a kick in a very delicate area, and then and I thought someone else was going to pick that as their low light. And what I really had as my low light was the yellow cards, cheap yellow cards. Now that's partly the referee, but it's also the potential consequences that has. 2 or 3 games down the line, or a game down the line, where I think you've got 2 yellow cards, and you miss a game. So that was really like bugging me throughout the game. There was some I think it was Rice and Kivior, and I think maybe one else. Yeah, that was going to be my low light if no one picked the goal. But there we go. So and as for the curry, it was delicious. So yeah.
What was the curry? Was it chicken or lamb?
Chicken and veg, a bit of rice, couple of poppadoms. Beautiful. There we go.
Nice. In terms of the lineup, then we obviously, as we've heard, we started with an unchanged team against Porto, like we had in the last couple of games. I think that was quite refreshing for me to see that. It was just a testament to the strength of the starting 11 that we've had, and the fact that players have played. The last couple of games haven't been massively intense against West Ham and Burnley, but it was still quite nice to see an unchanged team, and long may that continue. It's nice to have some consistency in the team as well, I guess. And it was interesting to see that some players we potentially thought would have come back from injury didn't manage to make it. It was nice to see Fabio Vieira named on the bench, so that was quite nice. I thought maybe he'd gone into hiding somewhere. We hadn't seen him for that long, but that was nice. I don't know, Wale, if you have any opinions on that. Were you content when you seen the lineup? Did you think we could have done anything differently, really?
No, when I saw the lineup, I was like, the starting lineup, I was like, cool. Similar to what you said, this team's been playing well, so let's put them out there and watch them play well again. Looked at the bench, boy. I thought I saw your name on the bench. Didn't even recognize a couple of the names out there, man. So I was hoping it wouldn't come to that. But before the game started, I was happy with some of the players and the names on the team sheet. As the game progressed, I was left wondering if some of those players were actually on the pitch, because it didn't look like it.
Senzi, did you think that potentially Jorginho could have been given a start? Especially because, he's a big game player. He's got lots of experience. What were your thoughts on keeping him on the bench?
I do think Jorginho probably should have started, since he's got the most experience out of all our players in the Champions League. So it was quite, not a shock, but just a bit strange for me to see him on the bench. And again, the bench did look very dry and weak, and I think there were 3 academy players on the bench. Yeah. So, yeah.
I guess it shows... Yeah. Sorry, I was going to say, I guess it shows how weak the bench was, the fact that we only really brought on Jorginho as well. There was no one else Arteta trusted to come on and try winning the game. However, do I think he was going for the win? I don't think so. I think he was going to be very content with a 0-0 at Porto and come back and do the business at the Emirates. Hence why he never threw on his Hail Marys of Eddie Nketiah, who's prolific away from home, as we all know, and Reece Nelson. But it was nice to have some academy players, and I was watching some clips of Aiden Heaven earlier on today, just in the academy. You guys, I can see your cameras, you're all saying, like, shrugging your shoulders, who? But watching some of the clips of him, so plays centre mid, quite a good player for his age, 17 years old, and looks pretty technical, pretty strong on the ball, can finish very well. Reminded me of watching Patrick Vieira. Really did. A really young, naive Patrick Vieira, essentially. So, and obviously we had our famous Sweet, James Sweet on the bench as well, which was quite nice to see. It gives these guys exposure to the big away days, so if anything, that might help later on in their careers if they have one at Arsenal.
We're going away and losing.
No, just around.
I saw a tweet. No, I don't know if it was taking the mickey or not, but apparently also in our academy we've got someone called Bitter and someone called Hell. So I don't know. I couldn't be bothered to check it out, but I liked it. So even if it's not true, it was quite funny.
That was funny. In terms of how we played then, Tabs, so
yeah.
Again, must give you props for these notes, very comprehensive. I'm just, I'm quite shocked though that you thought that we didn't really deserve to win, but doesn't mean we deserve to lose. I've not watched the full 90 minutes. I've watched extended highlights. It was like 26 minutes long, these highlights. I don't know if we didn't deserve to win. I don't know what. I mean, talk me through it. What were your thoughts first, and I'll come back and give you my piece.
I think my point is we didn't do enough to win the game. As Wales said, 0 shots on goal and number of attempts was pretty low. Our attacking play did not deserve to get the win, but it also said we didn't deserve to lose. Just because we didn't deserve to win doesn't mean we deserve to lose. I think a draw would have been a fair result. Based on the gameplay, and if it wasn't for one 30-second lapse of judgment, we would have gone away and thought, okay, 0-0, not great, but we'll bring them back to the Emirates, and that's a whole different ball game. So, yeah, no, didn't deserve to win, but didn't deserve to lose. And in terms of, for me, it's a bit of a reality check. Again, we've come off a really strong run, 5 games, but that's the Premiership, different kettle of fish. When you're playing in Europe, the whole emotion of it, the whole, just the different atmosphere, the preparation, the setup, just everything about it is just very different. And what struck me is that Porto, as we sort of discussed, I think they're 7 points off the top of the league. They've not had a great season. They're not great, but somehow the European nights just makes it a different proposition. And so I think it was a bit of a reality check for some of our players who actually are not experienced. That they're great players. But Sensi said, we've got Jorginho most experienced. I think Havertz as well, very experienced. But everyone else, Saliba's first knockout game in the Champions League, I think. Saka's first game, Nelly's first game. So there was a lot there to deal with, and there's a lot of these soft factors which come into play and do affect how you play on the day. And so therefore, it's dealing with Europe, playing in Europe. We've got to maybe be a bit more patient, about it. But I think we showed a bit of naivety and inexperience in it, and it cost us. And our record speaks for itself. I think we've 14 years since we've been in the quarters. Arteta's record in Europe is not particularly great. And even in the group stages, we beat Seville, we lost to Lens. And we drew with PSV, and so it just goes to show that away in Europe, it's very challenging. So I think we were maybe got carried away with the recent results, and so this will bring us back down to earth. But if you were to say we need to win at the Emirates and we'll qualify, I think we would have taken that. It's just that last 30 seconds just knocked the wind out of us. But I'm not down.
Can I just add something to that as well, and just say that when you look at all the Champions League games that have been played now in this season, this competition so far, there's not been a standout team. There's not been a standout performer. There's been, Man City won 3-1 against Copenhagen, right? But when you look at the likes of Real Madrid against RB Leipzig, they only won 1-0 away from home. PSG beat Sociedad 2-0. Bayern Munich lost 1-0 to Lazio. Inter Milan beat Atletico Madrid 1-0. PSV and Dortmund drew 1-1. Napoli and Barca drew 1-1. there's not been a team that's really impressed. You know, you could say, okay, yeah, Man City won 3-1, but it's Copenhagen. So I don't know whether it's our teams potentially being a little bit more tactful and games are a lot tighter. Although, or maybe has it just been that long since we've been in a knockout stage of a Champions League? Is this what it's like?
I think this is what it's like. I mean, with City, it was a goal in the 94th minute that padded out that score. But no, this is what it's like. It's very cagey. The group stages are a bit more free flowing, a bit more, because it's a league and there's a bit more, there's less riding on each game, and it just gets cagey. You get into knockout stages. It's very rare that you get big scores, and that like that. So yes, it's all about patience. It's all about biding. It's knowing how to play in Europe. You don't get that blood and thunder like you do in the Premiership, and yeah, it's because also you in the knockout stages, one mistake can cost you the qualifying for the next round. So yeah, and it's only until 10 minutes to go. We need a goal or whatever in the second leg. That's where it starts to get a bit harum scarum, and so on. But first legs are normally tight because you can't. You can very often lose. You can't very often win it, but you can definitely lose it in if you play badly in the first leg.
First legs are often very, very tight games, I'll give you that. Yeah. But I don't know if you remember the last time we were in the last 16 tabs, we lost 5-1 to Bayern
Munich. Yeah. There's always outliers and things. But yeah, there's always outliers, and it was Bayern Munich, and that was a not so great Arsenal team.
No.
So yeah.
Senzi, your thoughts on... So everyone, Twitter was, the Thursday after a defeat in midweek, Twitter is peak banter, right, for Arsenal fans. And I was reading loads this morning about Mikel Arteta has not won. His record in knockout games isn't great, which is okay, fine to say that. But has he's not really been given a chance to potentially show us, what he can do in the Champions League. And let's not forget, this is his first managerial job as well. So he is also still finding his feet as well as getting us into the position that we're in now. We should be lucky that we're even in a knockout game in the Champions League. So
no, stop that, man.
What do you mean, though? Genuinely, I mean,
stop that. We should be. You're right. We should be lucky just to be. We should be lucky to be in the Prem.
Well, no,
should be lucky just to be fighting.
But when you think about the last 10 years of what Arsenal Football Club has had to endure, and not even that, longer than 10 years of what we've had to endure in knockout stages, 10-2 against Bayern Munich. We lost, 5-1 against Barca on aggregate the year before. We lost to Monaco.
Doesn't mean we're fortunate to be back here. There was a time where we got rid of our best manager because this was so blah 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 average. This is what we do, that we were spoiled and tired of it. So you can't all of a sudden now say we're lucky to be here. You appreciate it and you want to. This is what you want to do, but you can't have that attitude. We're lucky to be here when you want to say you're a big team and one of the big clubs in Europe.
Yeah, no, I agree. We deserve to be here. We've shown that we should be on this stage. It's one game. We lost. If we'd come away 0-0, it would be a very different. So a lot of the analysis is going to be results based. Fair enough. But also, if you were to just take what was before that, you would go. Say you come away with a 0-0 draw. We didn't play well. Great. Forget about it. We take them to the Emirates, stuff them, and it's all forgotten. This is just knockout football. But I agree with Wales. We're definitely, this is the stage where we deserve to be and should be, based on prior form. It's just we're learning. We're learning. We're as I said, it's a new experience for people. As you say, Arteta, we're just having to learn on the job.
I'm not saying that we don't deserve to be here, but Senzi, I know I was asked Senzi the question, and
oh, sorry,
the men butted in with their opinions, which is fine. But she's been patiently waiting. So back me up here. We need to cut Arteta some slack, though, right? He is still learning as well. Please agree with me.
No, I agree that we have a young team. Like, some of them are really inexperienced in the Champions League, and European nights away aren't going to be very easy. But then again, we do have to take advantage of the second leg, and the players have to prove to us that they deserve to be in the Champions League. And we know how good of a team we are in the Prem, but at the end of the day, like, it is the Champions League. It's a completely different pace to the Premier League, and I do think Arteta has a lot on his hands with these players, but we do deserve to be there. But I just didn't see we were lacking creativity yesterday. Porto was stopping us quite a lot, and it was very underwhelming for me to see yesterday. Yeah.
Do you guys think that we missed the likes of Gabi Jesus and Zinchenko, who, like Jorginho, can give us that little bit of experience in the knockout stages of a Champions League game?
Yeah, especially the way Porto set up. So it was a mid block, and if you looked at it on TV, you could see all 10 of their outfield players within the space of a 20-yard gap, and they really sort of nullified us. So they were very good at that mid block, but then also they went on one sort of pressing and stuff, and we just found it really struggle to break that down. So that's where I think Zinchenko, with his better creativity, would have been maybe better at looking for gaps or pushing the ball wide. And then Jesus brings a bit of chaos to it. So again, Trossard was a bit, I think, anonymous in the game, and he struggled to get into it. Whereas Jesus, you would just see him 100%, just a Tasmanian devil getting it. Plus, also he's got a bit of the smarts. The way the Porto players were taking advantage of the leniency of the ref, like anytime you're on the floor, you get a free kick. I think J9 would have been taking advantage of that. So I think yes, the way Porto was set up was really sort of crying out for a bit of that extra creativity and that extra chaos that Jesus brings.
I think, and I guess the other thing is, it was a shame that we lost that game, or didn't give a good account of ourselves, because at the end of the day, when you think about it, there's players like Bukayo Saka who are on the world stage, everyone's watching, and we didn't really give that good an account of ourselves. And after the last two results, folk were maybe expecting us to come out the blocks all guns blazing. It was a shame. I don't know. I mean, the referee just seemed to break up play at any moment, and I seen this stat where the ball was in play. I think it was Opta that tweeted the ball was in play for just over 50 minutes of the total part of the game, which was one of the lowest recorded in Champions League history, which was crazy. And everything was a foul. Like, every single time we essentially breathed on a Porto player, the referee blew for a foul. So even when I was driving back home after you guys knew the calamity of after playing football, of my my issue, but with getting into the car and whatnot, the commentator on Talksport or BBC, sorry, had said about, the referee has given so many set pieces. No one's really had any clear cut chances, but there's been so many set pieces. So it was quite a shame to see that. I guess we have to be a little bit more smart in Europe and play to that, and know that the referees are going to be different than what we'll experience on a weekend in the Premier League. But Porto did their best to frustrate us and break our play as much as they could, right? So I just think we needed to maybe, or potentially for the second leg, we have to be a bit more smart to that, and really put on a performance that gets us through. We cannot simply afford to lose this game. We cannot get knocked out in the group stage. This could be our best chance to go deep into a competition like the Champions League for a long time. And just on that, I've got a question for you guys. Tabs, I'll go with you first. I was speaking to Fraser about this, and I said to him, and this might be a really unpopular opinion, but I can't see us winning the Champions League for the next 5 to 7, maybe 8 years. I think other teams are way too strong, way too experienced. I just don't see Arsenal as Champions League winners. I can't correlate the two together. Would you agree, or do you have a different opinion on that?
I don't want to think that would be the case. So no, I you can't guarantee it. You've got the likes of Real Madrid and City who will be perennial challengers. No, I think we can. I think we can if we learn fast. We've got to learn, and we've got to learn quick. And if we do, as I said, we're third favourites for this competition. There's no reason why we can't go on and win this. Look at Inter Milan last year. They got to the final. look, even you go back to the final that we should have been at, where it was Porto and Monaco. If you it's a cup competition, you get a bit of a good draw. Yeah, there's no reason why we shouldn't be able to win this. But that's a big sort of meta conversation about squad and all the rest of it, and it takes a bit of luck. But the main thing is learn quick, and then prove what we can do. We know we're better than this, so we've got to just go and show it.
You need luck and you need a full strength squad, don't you, Wale?
Yeah.
For winning the Champions League, you need both of those things. What are your thoughts? So, do you think we'll win the Champions League in the next 5 seasons? Shall we say?
I mean, that's a long time to look ahead. So, I mean, I'd like to say we have the ability, but I mean, there's a lot of things that have to come into play. I mean, going back before, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, this team has a shot on it, but I don't buy into the it's knockout round and like it's European nights. Like these guys had the group stages to get the butterflies out of their stomachs, and those are European games, and they were European away nights. So and these aren't even knockout games. Like that, I could even understand if it was a one and done. This is like a 2-game series. So, and they're pros. We just played really bad, coupled with a team playing the way that we don't like to be played, with a sprinkling on top of a manager who didn't go there to win. Like, I don't care what anybody tells me. Like, he didn't go there to win. He went there to get the draw and to come back to the Emirates. He's taking advantage, which some of these managers do, of there not being the whole away goals thing. It's like, listen, you can tell by the team he put out there. He put a strong 11 out there, but the 3 academy players, for what? Are we that depleted by injuries that those are the only people he could find and put on the bench? And if that's the case, well, we got a lot of work to do over the summer. So I guess to go back to your original sort of question, yeah, in the next 5 years, I assume we hold on to players and build and strengthen. Like, I feel we could win it, but it takes a little bit of luck. And here's a hot take for you. Depending on how this tournament goes, we might need a new manager to take us there.
Wow. Really?
Depending on how this tournament goes, you touched on it earlier. It's not a sparkling record when it comes to Europe and cup competitions. Yeah, we got that FA Cup, but new manager bounce, Aubameyang, ESR, blah blah blah. So that was great. What has he done since then? It hasn't been great. So I can only go on his past record. We'll see. I hope it's not the case. Like, I'm not gonna fire a guy over this performance, but if we go out at this stage against this team, it's a calamity. It's catastrophe. It's a catastrophe. We've still got the season to go on, but you shouldn't be losing to Porto, man. It's questions will need to be answered and asked if we go out.
I've not seen you this hurt since you spilt your pint at the Horatia before a game.
Had my pint spilled. I don't spill pints.
we need VAR on that one.
I'm really interested at that comment you made now, and that's piqued my interest a little bit. So, at what stage would you find it acceptable? I'm not saying we're going to get knocked out, right? We might get to the final, whatever. But at what stage would you then think, if we get knocked out, at your opinion of that will change and Arteta keeps his job? Do you think quarters, semis? What are your thoughts on that?
It's a combination of things. So it's not necessarily where in the round. It's who your opponent is. Like if we were playing Madrid right now and we get knocked out, like, I'm upset because I feel we should be able to compete with anybody. But I'm not calling for any heads. Like, you've seen their lineup, man. They're probably the best team in the world. So if you lose to the best team in the world and you're not favored, by definition, you're not favored. So I'm not gonna get all upset about that. But if you lose to some, come on, man, Porto. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't lose to Porto in the knockout round. No, not if you're Arsenal.
I do agree. And if we do lose in 3 weeks' time to Porto at the Emirates, I think a lot of fans will be calling for Arteta's head. The only question you have then is what manager is available essentially to take us into that next level. But that's a conversation for another day. Senzi, I'm going to ask you another question about the game itself and the yellow cards that hampered us. So obviously Declan Rice got booked in what was like the second minute. Kiwior and Havertz as well were booked kind of in the first part of the second half, if you like. I know that Declan Rice yellow card maybe affected him for the rest of the game, but do you reckon that he'll now obviously he'll have to walk a tightrope for the next potential 3 games because they reset after the quarterfinals? Do you think that could prove a potential banana skin for us?
I mean, the amount of yellows that we got given it when Rice got booked. I mean, I was a bit shaky because it was early on within the game, so that kind of affected our play because he had to be cautious. I think going into the second leg, we're going to have to be cautious again the way we play because this is obviously not the Prem, the Champions League, and I don't want to point fingers at the ref, but because we were poor, I do agree we were poor, but he did disrupt the flow with the amount of fouls, like 22 fouls. I still don't get that. And when Havertz got booked, I feel like Havertz, when he got booked, it was for a guy running into his arms. Like, what was that about?
I don't
Like,
agree. I don't agree with
yeah.
that being a yellow card. I really don't. I think
No.
it was one of those fouls where, or even bookings in the Prem that never gets given. This referee was just happy to show that card. And for Kivior, I mean, after kind of 70 minutes, he looked drained. And when I was watching these extended highlights, I could even see that every time he was up against an attacker, I was kind of quite scared because I thought, well, he's on a yellow, he's tired, one lazy leg stuck out or whatever, he could potentially get sent off. And then, okay, it's not the end of the world because we have, Zinchenko's there. He's, I think, a few days away from coming back from his calf injury, as is Gabby Jesus. So the same with Havertz. But for Declan Rice, I mean, if he gets booked now in the return leg or one of the 2 quarterfinal legs, assuming we make it through, that'll be a huge loss for us. I almost want him to get booked in the second leg and then win 7-0, so we're definitely through. But he misses just the first leg of the quarters. So
it's the vagaries of playing in European competition with these different refs, and look, he won't change, or he shouldn't change the way he plays in the next leg. We go out and win. If he takes a yellow card, fine. I'd rather win and he gets a yellow card than we don't. Yeah, and I think Sensi's right. It affected his game. There's a couple of times you could see, even with the goal, he was just hesitating because if I go in and I get it wrong, that's a card, and that's it. So look, it's just unfortunate with Europe. You just get cards dished out like confetti, and it's just wherever they land, and they've just got to take the hit. In terms of Kivior, yeah, you're right. It was around 70 minutes. I noticed. I made a note like about 60 minutes, 70 minutes. But the whole team from about 60, 70 minutes, the mistakes started to creep in, giving the ball away, not controlling it. It was just around that period the whole team started to just be a bit more unsettled. I think maybe it was that, do we stick or twist? Do we keep pushing, trying to get a result here, or do we just hold on to what we have? So I think that, yeah, there was a definite hesitancy just from around that point. I just noticed, something's not quite right here for the game.
in terms of predictions, Senzi, I need you to be really honest with the podcast right now, okay? We obviously never asked you. You weren't on last week, so we never got to ask you what your prediction was for the game. But this is your chance to tell our worldwide audience, what was your prediction before the game?
It was actually 3-1.
Okay, so you went with me on that prediction. So
Yeah.
no one got anywhere near. Well, at least, Dawitt said 4-0, which was just, looking back now, just, crazy. But I guess, Whale and Tabs, you guys were you guys kind of win on merit of, us scoring 2 and then them scoring 1. So you guys both said 2-1. But in terms of the goal itself, I mean, where do I start? So there's kind of, forgetting the play. Let's just think of when Martinelli has that ball, right? There's 3 prongs to what went wrong, and I've seen so much David Raya hate on Twitter today, and even in some WhatsApp groups that I'm in. I'm not going to call anyone out by name, but you know who you are because you listen to this pod. The first one obviously was Martinelli's pass. Now, the commentator said, "Oh, if the defender misses it, it's straight through to Saka, and it's potentially a 2-on-1, 3-on-1 opportunity to go down the other end, score off the counter, and go 1-0 up, right?" But as it happens, Otavio intercepts a pass, plays it into Galeno, and he scores what, fair play. You can only stand up and applaud that. If we score a goal of that caliber, we'll be talking about it, clipping it for days on end. That's one of the goals that wins goal of the month on match of the day at the end of every month or whatever. People say Declan Rice was too far away off from Galeno for the goal. I think that's more of an issue than the David Raya being off his line was. David Raya was off his line because the ball was it was at the halfway line pretty much when the pass was played, even further into Porto's half when the ball was played into Galeno. David Raya's not thinking that he's shooting from there. No chance. The only reason why the only time he knew when he was shooting was when the player shaped up to shoot.
And that's a problem.
Is it though? Is it?
Yeah, he's a professional goalkeeper. I don't expect him to be thinking. Well, number one, yeah, you should be thinking that you can get lobbed from anywhere, essentially from the halfway line coming in. But fair play, whatever. He's not thinking that. The second that pass gets made into Gallego, whatever his name is, Raya, yeah, he's off his line. That's one problem. He's also too far to his right. Like, you're not going to get beat there. He's got the whole left-hand side open, and that's the problem. It's a couple of things. We have a small keeper. Now, he does a lot of good things, so you can't necessarily hold that against him, but him being only like 6 foot, when you watch that play again in slow motion, he only just misses getting a finger or a glove on it. That's because he's a little goalkeeper. And when you're a little goalkeeper, you don't have as much to play with as not being in your correct position. A taller, longer goalkeeper, they've got more play. They can take that risk. If they're quicker, they're longer, they can go over there and make that. Now, I'm not saying it's all his fault, but he plays a position where his mistakes are magnified a lot more than everybody else. I mean, Martinelli, for instance, I'm not mad that he saw that pass and tries to make it. Because if he does, we're calling him a hero. If it's a little higher up and the ball goes through, I'm upset at the execution of it. But I would never tell my player, don't do that. I'm not going to stifle him and be like, don't go for wins. That's not what I'm about. It's what happened after that. And as you said, Maz, like Rice could have played a little closer like that. For a professional football player, that shot he took was wide open.
The only thing I would say about the Declan Rice, situation, if you like, was he did two things wrong in that phase. The first thing was didn't close his player down quick enough, and we all know what Declan Rice is like as a player. He normally would run in front of that ball and block it with any part of his body and do anything to stop that from being a shot. I just don't think players thought he was shooting. I don't think Rice thought he was having a shot, this Galeno. So that's why he never did that. But the second phase of that as well was when the shot was played, he turned his back. So instantly, as you turn your back, if you think about a player facing the ball and then you turn and have your back facing, there's a moment where you're side on. And it was at that moment the ball went past Declan Rice and into the back of the net. So if he had just stayed facing the player, or turning your back is like a cardinal sin in Sunday League, right? You don't do that, otherwise you get laughed at by your teammates for letting a goal in. But I was just quite shocked at that. I just don't think he was expecting the shot, though.
I think with every goal you can find fault. It doesn't, no matter. It's very rare that you'll have a goal that we did everything we could, and so you can always find fault. And I think with you, Whale, the execution of Nelly's crossfield pass. So I saw it and we're like, oh yeah, we could break, but you've got to go big, because if you don't get it right, then at least if you go big, goes out for a throw, it doesn't matter. And it was similar to the goal we let in against Lens when Raya didn't clear it enough and Tommy didn't get it, and so on. So that thing, but then also, you've got to think it's only half time in the tie. Do you really want to risk everything? Fair enough if it's the last minute of the game at the second leg, fine. But this is where the naivety comes. It was the last minute of the tie. You take the 0-0. Don't risk it. And in terms of Raya,
Sorry, can I
Go
just
on.
say, interject on that very quick?
Yeah.
I don't think Martinelli thought that, though. I don't think he thought that his pass was going to Otavio, who then passes to Galeno and then scores.
No, I know,
You know,
but no, of course, you never do. You miss something, you don't think, because there's still a lot needs to happen. So as I said, it was a catalogue of errors. But do you take that risk and reward? And was the reward worth the risk at that stage? As I said, only half time in the tie, 10 seconds to go, 20 seconds to go. I'm going to hold on to this, take what we have. The rare thing, yeah, it's debatable. Yeah, some people will be strong one way, some people another. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer, but yeah, I can see why people would be calling out on it. But yeah, it's just. But also, I said that goal, as you said, Moz, and I think we've all said that goal still needs some scoring. So even with the catalogue of errors, he still needs to put in a bloody good
it's a
shot.
fantastic finish.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
exactly. 99 times out of 100, that's going nowhere. And we just got suckered by it, and we just got to take the medicine and, as I said, learn. It's all about learning. Every day's a school day.
Yeah, and if only we had Galeno on our team when we were drawing 3-3 against Southampton last season instead of Thomas Partey, right? I shouldn't even mention that. I'm getting flashbacks. It came up on my feed on Twitter, the highlights of that game. I watched it. I don't know why I watched it at lunchtime today, but I did. I watched the highlights of that 3-3, and I just seen that Partey shot in my mind as I looked at Galeno's goal again. But
yeah, see, that's what we expected to happen. That's what we expected to happen. To Thomas Partey up into the crowd. But there we go.
All is not lost. As you said, it's only half time in the tie. It's such a cliche comment, but it's so true. Still got 90 minutes of football to play under the lights of the Emirates. The crowd, as we know, the atmosphere has been electric the last few games. I think it'll be on par with what it was like against Liverpool. I am going. I think everyone else in this, you guys all going to the game? Tabs, you'll be there, right? I think you're.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Will?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
And Senzi, come on, give us the good news.
Unfortunately, no.
Oh, I thought it was going to be a worldwide exclusive on the Grove podcast that you were going to make it to the game, but unfortunately not. You don't need to study all the time. Uni can wait. Arsenal cannot.
I've got a dissertation during a month.
Okay, yeah, we'll let you off. Fair play.
Have you not heard of ChatGPT? There you
go. But I guess, like I was mentioning earlier on, we have to be a bit more savvy in Europe, and I think I personally don't see Porto winning the game. I know I said we're going to win 3-1 away, but that was maybe looking at it with rose tinted glasses on after the previous two Premier League performances. However, at 1-0 down or 0-0, there's no away goals into play, so we know we have to score at the Emirates to either get a draw or to win. So nothing's really changed. We just need to score twice. That essentially is that, and we need to keep a clean sheet and score 2 goals. There's 90 minutes of football. We know how to score. We've got the players available that know how to score. So at the end of the day, it's there. It's there for our taking, and Arteta can keep his job, right, Will?
I'm worried, man. They're going to play the exact same way at the Emirates. Like, it's not some magical elixir. Like, they're going to play the exact same way, and unless we find some way to sort of to play around that, I'm concerned about it. Like, I love Rice, but let's not forget Rice doesn't really progress the ball sort of directly forward. He'll ping one to the left and the right every now and again, but if you look at the games, he brings so many other things that are fantastic, but he doesn't do what Jorginho and what Partey do to an extent, which is sort of help Odegaard sort of facilitate the offense, assist, and move the ball forward. And like what Tabs was saying earlier, with that middle block, they congest the pitch, man. They're 10 yards on one side of the halfway line and 10 yards on the other side. And the second you try to get that ball in the middle, they're on you. And they're man marking, and they don't let you turn. And it causes the ball to go out left, out right. I mean, they were trying everything. We had Ben White inverting, moving forward, pushing the line. They completely ignored him. We couldn't get the ball to him. It's going to be tough. Arteta's going to have to earn his wage on this one.
I think I didn't mention earlier, but one thing we need to do is turn their defence around. So you got Pepe, who's getting his pension. I think only once did we turn him and make him and defenders. That's the one thing they hate doing, is having to turn and play facing the goal. And we didn't do that. Didn't do that enough. And the guy next to him, that was his debut. And it's like, we did not take advantage of that. So that, I think, to your point, well, yeah, it's going to be a bit tight. But I think with the Emirates crowd, I think playing at home, you just have that extra something, and again, I think Porto's away record, especially in England, is terrible. I don't think they've even won away or in England at all, or for ages. So I think that home advantage, it counts for something. But yeah, it's not going to be easy. We need a strong ref, because if we have that ref again, it's just like, I don't even want a corner, because it's just embarrassing and it just wastes time. I'd rather we didn't have the corners. So no, I'm more positive.
But we're the best at it, so that should play into us.
Well, we should do, but then Porto
so the fact that we had 10 of them, we should have scored.
What it did is that Porto played the ref really well at the corners. Like, even when their own keeper was hitting their own player, I think standing on him, they go down and play every corner. They just won a free kick. It's just like, well, what the hell can we do? So we need to come up with something different, as in, right, let's all be on the edge of the box and then run in or something like that, rather than having to do all this jostling around and, as you said,
kick it short. We didn't try that.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was thinking the same. We didn't try something different just to draw them out and get out of that. So yeah, I think, again, it's all about learning. What can we do different? We've seen them. We know what they're all about. I think we'll take them. And if you were to say, right, would we score 2 goals at home against Porto in the knockout stages? I would say yes, we would.
Yeah, I agree. And look, Pastor Timber has spoken. He normally does his Bible verses before games, but Julian Timber has just tweeted 2 letters, KT. Is Kieran Tierney coming back to Arsenal? I have no idea why he is. I have no idea why he has tweeted the letters KT.
What's his brother's name?
That's Quentin. That's QT.
Oh, okay.
QT, just like you without a beard, Will. But and that moves us on. Lovely passage on to part 2 of the Grove podcast and the Newcastle preview. So we obviously do our highlights and lowlights of the game against Porto, and we do that for every game we play. Let's now talk what we're looking forward to and not looking forward to in the upcoming fixture against Newcastle. So
we should give our scores for Porto first, man.
Oh, we'll do that.
Now we have Senzi on, or I might not be on the next one. So
right, okay. Wow, are you okay? You thinking you're going to be culled from the pod or something?
I might be working.
Right, okay.
Who knows, man? Okay. Who knows? You never know.
Let's do it. Okay, let's do that. So apologies, we're not moving to part 2 yet. So before we go on to the scores, I've not said it yet, and we're 45 minutes in. Please hit the like button, hit the share button, hit the comment button, hit the follow button. If you're listening on Spotify, please click on the star rating at the top. Give us 5 stars. We have so many 5-star ratings already. We really appreciate it. We are arguably the fastest growing new Arsenal podcast called The Grove. So, that is something in itself.
That records at 8 o'clock on a Wednesday in February.
Arguably is doing a lot of heavy lifting there. So,
yeah, arguably the best Arsenal podcast that's called The Grove. Yeah, I don't know where I'm going with this. Anyway, so my prediction for the home tie will be 3-1 to Arsenal. So we will go through.
That's tight.
Yeah, 3-1. We will go through, but that's like my second leg score, not my aggregate score. Wale, what's yours?
Yeah, funnily enough, to mine comes with a lot of ifs, ands, and buts, but it's I see it being 2-1 deep into the game, and I'm hoping we come up with that winner and being 3-1. But if not, it doesn't surprise me. I don't want to predict the loss, so I'm gonna go 3-1 us with a 90th minute or so winner.
Okay, Senzi.
That's funny because I was actually going to say 3-1 as well. I do see it.
Such a safe scoreline. It's so safe though, isn't it? 3-1. They'll score. We'll maybe score first. They'll score. It'll be 2-1 in aggregate, and then we'll score 2 late goals, to make it 3-2 or whatever. But yeah, fair enough. Tabs.
3-0.
Okay, nice and easy. I love how Wales predicts a 90th minute winner. The Emirates will erupt if that happens. So, anyway, moving on to part 2 of the podcast, the Newcastle preview. So, I was saying about how we do looking forward to, not looking forward to an upcoming fixture. I mean, the last 2 times I've watched us play Newcastle live, in fact, no, sorry, the last 3 times I've watched us play Newcastle live, we have failed to win. I'm not going to be at the game on Saturday. I'm watching from the Arsenal Scotland supporters pub, actually. So I won't be there in person, hoping for a different result. I might be the bad luck charm for this. Newcastle are kind of my bogey team. I've seen them twice in the last 2 seasons away from home, and we lost both. And I've seen them at home kind of just after the New Year. Do you remember that last season? Freezing cold in London. I was wearing a T-shirt and jeans. I was absolutely freezing, and we drew 0-0. And I was just in a bad mood for the rest of that day. I was with Fraser, and I remember we just kind of thought, that was one of our worst ever trips down to London from Scotland for the game. The other one being PSV in the Europa League, when, yes, we did win, but God, we were just absolutely knackered. We got the sleeper train down and whatnot. So it was just, that's a story for another podcast, honestly. I'm going to have Fraser on to describe that. That was just an awful experience. Never get a sleeper train. It leaves Edinburgh at 11 p.m, arrives in London Euston at 7:30 in the morning. You're sitting on a seat for pretty much 8 hours, listening to other people snore, listening to people playing music so loud in their headphones. It's awful.
I think it's in the name, though, Miles. Aren't you supposed to sleep?
Well, I mean, how
So
can
you're
you
not
sleep?
listening to all that?
How can you sleep sitting upright on a seat when the guy next to you is snoring his head off? And then I believe there's another time where Fraser went down.
Fraser? Is that Fraser snoring his head off?
It wasn't actually, and I don't want him on actually because he'll talk about my snoring whenever we've shared a room together in London.
I thought you weren't talking about this, by the way.
No, I know, and I'm talking about it. But hey, it's funny. And also, don't get the bus. That's all I'm going to say. Don't get the bus from Edinburgh to London. It's even worse. It's awful. So, what am I looking forward to? Looking forward to not being there, and hopefully we get a win. But genuinely looking forward to just continuing our league form. You know, that's 5 wins on the bounce now. We are the most informed team in the league, just above Man City, who are 4 wins and a draw. So, you know, I'm just excited for us to kick on again, prove to everyone that game against Porto was a blip, and we'll come out against Newcastle and we'll essentially just show them that, you know, the Premier League, that we mean business. What I'm not looking forward to is it's Newcastle. They always find a way to make our lives difficult. And for some reason, they're just not doing great in the Premier League this season, but they're still getting results. You know, they're still getting, you know, they're currently 8th in the Premier League, so they are still getting the odd result here or there. So not looking forward to that. Senzi, what are you looking forward to and not looking forward to?
Yeah, I guess playing at home again. I mean, it's an 8 p.m. kickoff, so it's under the lights. So I feel like the team need the energy from the fans after like losing to Porto. Like, we have the quality. Like, we've seen the team like drive for wins these last couple of games. So I feel like another win would really lighten up the situation for us now. Yeah. And then what I'm not looking forward to, again, yeah, Newcastle trying to get a reaction from us. I feel like Gimenez as well last time, he was very dangerous. He just irritated me in general. So I just feel like Newcastle will come in full force and try to get a reaction from us. So I just hope that we just keep on our form, yeah.
Bruno Guimaraes is a very annoying footballer, regardless if he's playing against Arsenal or not, so don't worry about that. Whale, what are you looking forward to, not looking forward to in the game?
Looking forward to this, obviously being sort of the grudge match and getting a little get back. Paul Tierney's the ref. Don't like it when he refs for us, so I'm not necessarily looking forward to that. I guess on the bright side of things, the way things went last time, it's going to be a huge microscope on the officials on this game. It wouldn't surprise me if there's at least one sort of big call or VAR decision or something that sort of breaks up the play of game for a little while they really focus and try to get the call right. And as usual, I'm just looking to get back on winning ways. I know for us, it's easy for fans and pundits to say, oh, well, in the Premier League, we haven't lost in reality. We lost the other day. And that's how players look at it, I'm sure. So yeah, it'd be nice to get back on a win streak, man, and just keep it moving.
Okay, Tabs?
Yeah, I think similar to what I said, just getting back to the Emirates, looking forward to being there 8:00, a couple of drinks with the Grovers beforehand. So looking at that, I think the atmosphere will be amazing. We'll want to lift the team after the Porto result. And I'm also looking forward to see what sort of team comes out. It'd be nice to see, will he change it? What will he do different? I think maybe Porto have shown us a bit of a blueprint as to how Newcastle will play. I think Newcastle will be a bit more aggressive, but in terms of how they'll play, I think maybe similar. So maybe again we can use some of that to work out how to get past Newcastle. And not looking forward to it. Well, it's Newcastle. I just hate playing them. I guess they're a different proposition when they're away. But they're just such a irritating, horrible team that for some reason the media love. Fun. I don't know why, because of their Saudi background and all the rest of it. I just don't know. The media seem to love something Englishness about them, and just want to really, what was it Soren said about West Ham? It's the same. I want to humble those fuckers because man, that would be good. That would be good.
How do you think we'll approach the game then, Senzi? Do you think we're going to name another unchanged lineup, or do you think Arteta needs to go a little bit different? Let's not forget that potentially we'll have Zinchenko and Jesus back. Everywhere I'm looking at, it says that they're a few days away. That usually means the players are going to be in training. So what are your thoughts? What are on the lineup?
No, I'd like to see a rotation in the squad. I think Jesus back is, if he comes back, it is a positive for us. And I think Kivior needs a rest as well. So I think Zinchenko coming back would be a positive as well. But then again, it's whether Arteta chooses to keep the same squad or just change it and completely throw Newcastle off.
Will, do you think that Gabriel, was it you who was it on the last pod that said Gabriel Jesus is returning against Porto? I can't remember now who it was, but
that was Tabs.
It was Tabs.
If he was fit.
Yeah, okay. Do you think he starts if he's fit and he's back?
First off, shout out to our fellow Grover Cern. I don't know who this guy Soren is that Tab's talking about.
Sorry.
But Cern, Cern had that quote. Let's just get that straight.
Sorry, Cern. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, ironically, he doesn't really score goals for us, but he does all the other things, and it's a sports. What have you done for me lately? And as I sort of said a little earlier, I didn't know Trossard played the other game until he volleyed that one over the crossbar. So it's if medium Gabby is fit, let's get him in there. Let's get him in there and see what he can do. I'm a little worried, but again, I mean, this is Saturday, 8:00. Plenty of time for drinks all day long. So the crowd will be a factor. But Newcastle's a physical team as well. I mean, Burns, whatever his name is, will probably get some time. Like Trippier, I believe, he's ranked up there in like big chances created by defenders. I mean, he was super hot at one point during the year, and then he went off the boil a little bit, where he was just like pretty much giving up games all on his own. And now I think he's come back to sort of right where he normally is. So it's gonna be tough. But I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, Kieran Trippier has. In fact, that could be. We might have cracked it. Julian Timber has tweeted about Kieran Trippier. KT. Yeah. It all makes sense now.
Yeah, there it is.
He's casting a curse on Kieran Trippier before the game. He has 10 assists in the Premier League, and Alexander Isak has 10 goals in the Premier League for Newcastle. However, having said that, Isak, Wilson, and Joe Linton are all absent.
I think Isak might be back. I think he's touch and go, but the others.
Wilson. I think he might play, but Wilson definitely not.
No, exactly.
Okay.
I mean, look, for me, for me, I'm not worried what team we put out. You know, I'm sure Arteta will put the best team out that's available to win the game. I think there's two components to this. One is mental, you know, coming back off the Porto loss. You know, how are we going to recover from that? We're likely to be a few points back in third place because of the Liverpool result last night, and I think City play before us and stuff. So it's always we're doing all that catch up. It's what we were doing all the time last year, trying to catch up. So I think mentally that's always challenging. And then it's going to be a physical matchup. We need to be physical. So I think we need to bring in our big players, our physical players. So I'd rather have Tommy back than Zinchenko. You know, the 4 centre backs. But saying that, and then also I would have Jorginho in the team because he did fantastic, I think, away at Newcastle with Rice, and then I'd have Havertz up front. So I think we need to bring a bit of physicality to the to this game, and I think yeah, that's where it's going to be won and lost. The mental and physical side of things. You know, Arteta and his trademark duels. You know, we've got to be winning those duels. We've got to have that presence that presence there to take them. You know, again, quality-wise, man for man, we're better. I mean, Newcastle. I look at their team; they're such a bunch of no marks. I don't know half of them, and you know who these players are and what they're doing in the Premiership, and they just somehow keep winning. But I think their home record is the one that how should I say, sort of protects them. So yeah, so I think that's where it's going to be won or lost.
Sounds like good coaching to me, though. By the way, based on your last comment, that's probably how.
Yeah. No pun intended. That's probably how. It's good, I guess, in the sense that Liverpool aren't playing in the Prem this weekend. They have a chance, obviously, to pick up some silverware when they play against Chelsea.
Oh God!
So I guess, you know, in a sense, so Man City play just before us at 5:30 against Bournemouth. Yeah. We expect them to win, so they'll end up on 59 points. If we then beat Newcastle, you know, we'll be on 58. So and obviously Liverpool are ahead on 60. So and that'll be us all having played the same amount of games. Now, in terms of that, I think we should go strong, and I think we should go all or nothing, simply for the fact that we don't play for another 9 days after. You know, our next game is away to Sheffield United on not the next Monday, but the Monday after. So I really do think that Arteta should play, as you guys are saying, a strong team, just because we need the win. We have ample time before the subsequent fixture against Sheffield United. Nothing in between. And then also, having said that, you know, the next time we play against Sheffield United, City will have played against United, and Liverpool will have played against Nottingham Forest. So essentially, you know, if we win these next 2 games, we could be in a lot stronger position than what we are at the moment. We could potentially be second, if not first, above City and Liverpool, if, you know, City happen to drop points against United, who are looking like a little bit of a better team. And Newcastle's record at the Emirates, 18 games played, and they've only won once. So and drawn with us twice. So so they've conceded 43 goals and only scored 7. So as much as they're our bogey team, kind of away from home, then, you know, they could be saying the same for us as well. So I'm looking forward to it, though. I'm looking forward to also being in a different atmosphere and watching the game from, you know, not being in the stadium and just watching with these Arsenal supporters who have some very interesting opinions half the time about about the team. That'll be quite interesting. I think, Will, you'd get along with them really well. The fact that you want Arteta out if he loses against Porto, having been some of the group chat. But no, yeah, I am. I'm looking forward to it, and it'll be a good game. And I just hope we can kick on from now in the Prem. And Tabs, I sent you a picture earlier on today. I don't know if you had a chance to have a look at it, but you know, I kind of rated the rest of our Premier League games. I'm not going to go into that just now, but I got myself a little bit giddy and excited, you know, just ticking off the games I think we're going to win and draw, and, you know, we can afford to potentially lose a couple here or there and still end up winning the league. So
But can we? Because I was looking at it when City win the league, they go on streaks of winning 18 games in a row, 15 games in a row, 12. They just get on a roll. No draws, no losses. They just win, win, win. And we've got to do the same. So, we could lose here, we could lose there. No, we've got to be thinking just win, win, win. And I'm not talking about the dog. I'm not talking about the dog here. I'm talking about 3 points. Because you see, you've seen them do it. That's how they've won their leagues. They sort of just stay in the game until now, and then bang, they're on fire. And we've got to do the same thing. I think if we've got to be in with a chance, I don't think we should be trying to rely on other results or other teams. We've got to be getting on a roll.
I'm going to leave you guys with one very unpopular opinion potentially. I'm not worried about City. I don't think they're as strong. They beat Brentford just. Their team looks their bench looks very poor when a couple of players are out. Yes, they have unbelievably world-class players in their starting 11, and they have good kids coming off the bench and winning some games like they did against when Oscar Bob scored the winner against Newcastle. But when you look at Man City as a team this season, I've watched quite a few of their games begrudgingly as well, I must admit. I just don't think they look amazing. I really don't. I really don't see them going on a massive run. Maybe that's just the pessimist in me. But guys, we've spoke for over an hour now, so I'm going to let you guys go and enjoy the rest of your evening. But thank you so much, Senzi, Whale, and Tabs for coming on the pod. Before we go, I was just about to say, before we go, we need to do another round of predictions. Whale, you never reminded me. Predictions for the Newcastle game, which obviously is our next game coming up. So, oh God, right, I'm going to let Tabs, I'm going to let you go first. So what's your prediction?
I think I've said the same score every game. 3-1.
Whale, your prediction for Newcastle?
Let me see. One moment. While I just sort of ponder on that, I just want to sort of clarify with this sort of Arteta out thing. I'm not talking about just replacing him just with anybody. Like I treat my managers like I treat players. It would have to be an upgrade. So if an upgrade was available, by all means. But as far as a scoreline goes, it seems we normally score about 2 goals on these guys. I'm gonna go 2-0.
Wales just basically added up every score from the last 20 head-to-heads, taking an average, and then went for the score. It works. It might work. Senzi, what's your prediction?
I'm going to say 2-1.
Wow, okay. Ooh. I'm going controversial here, by the way, guys. I'm going very controversial.
Oh God!
No. I'm going 1-1. I'm going 1-1. I just don't know what it is. I have a gut feeling inside me that it's going to finish 1-1.
And we'll burn the Emirates down. It better not.
Yeah, and we'll be calling for Arteta's head again on the
next. Is that going to be the poll on Spotify? Is Whale Arteta out or
no? The poll on Spotify. Well, in fact, before we go, a little bit of admin. I must apologise if you're still listening. By the way, at this stage, 1 hour and 10 minutes in, fair fucks to you because we chat some amount of shit on this podcast. So fair enough.
It's quality. Quality.
It is quality, and like I say, we're the best podcast called The Grove. Other podcasts do exist with similar names, I must add. A little bit of admin. I'm really apologetic for the fact I could not figure out how to add people to send in voice thingies into the pod last week. It is coming, I promise. So that's one thing. The other thing as well is I must apologise. We never did a Burnley preview podcast. Unfortunately, life got in the way for some of us, so we couldn't record. We will be back, however, on the weekend. Potentially the episode will be released on Monday for the Newcastle review. And I've been Moz, your host, Senzi, Whale, Tabs. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you. That was great.
Thank you.